Today on Chapman News, as Mark Zuckerberg prepares to testify before Congress, he admits twice as many people were victims.
A woman with a grudge, the latest on the shooting at YouTube, and we'll look at the growing phenomenon of workplace violence.
And the president talking tough on immigration again. We'll meet a woman who fled El Salvador only to face an uncertain future here. All of this and more coming up on Chapman News.
Good afternoon, I'm Caitlin Chan.
And I'm Roxana Musavi, and this is Chapman News. The president's been making a lot of news in the past 24 hours. First, the president says he's considering putting an additional tariff on $100 billion worth of Chinese goods. This follows a tariff of $50 billion the White House has already authorized. It also ups the trade war between the U.S. and China that has rattled financial markets all over the world. For the first time, the president has spoken out on Stormy Daniels, the woman who allegedly was paid $130,000 for not revealing what she claims was an affair with the president. When asked on Air Force One, Trump told reporters he knew nothing about it. And the president is talking immigration again, sending U.S. troops to guard the Mexican border and telling audiences in Virginia that the Democrats are to blame. He also took a swipe at California.
Places like California, the same person votes many times. You probably heard about that. They always like to say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Not a conspiracy theory, folks. Millions and millions of people. And it's very hard because the state guards their records. They don't want to see it.
For the record, there's been no hard evidence of illegal voting in California.
One group directly affected is the 693,000 DACA recipients whose fate is once again uncertain. In the past, Trump has promised to support DACA recipients, saying that they have a place here. Just this week, he wrote that DACA is dead in a seemingly anti-immigration Twitter storm. We wanted to share the story of one DACA recipient, a Chapman student, whose future lies in the hands of the Trump administration.
Like 7 years or 6 years old, we actually got kidnapped.
Lydia Arevalo is talking about her childhood in El Salvador, which is rapidly becoming the most dangerous country in Latin America. Its struggles with rampant gang violence and poverty have given it one of the highest murder rates in the world.
It was like a scare tactic. My mom had to borrow money from the bank and do a lot of things just to pay that debt.
Like most Latin American immigrants, Lydia's family was forced to move to the United States due to violence and economic hardship in their home country.
She could not pay that back, and an opportunity came out. She was a business owner and also a nurse, and then they were needing actually nurses here in the U.S.
But at first, Lydia stayed behind in El Salvador.
I stayed with my brother, living with my grandparents. My brother decided to move. He actually wanted to come to the U.S. in 2004, and I was the only one left behind in El Salvador. I think I was going to start my 8th grade, and my parents told me, hey, we're going to bring you.
But the journey to the United States is not the only trauma immigrants face. Young students like Lydia must learn to grapple with the challenges of gaining a foothold in a completely new country, with a different language, culture, and people, not to mention battling misconceptions about being a DACA recipient.
Many people believe that as undocumented, I'm going to say everybody, not just DACA recipients, that we don't pay taxes and that we're just here to take advantage of the system, and that's not true. There's a lot of misconceptions also that people say. I think like even in these past elections, the presidential elections, people say, hey, you know what, even undocumented people voted. I'm like, no, that's not true. We cannot vote. There's no way we can do that. And also that we are a burden to the, I guess, to the economy. We cannot even benefit from the things that we pay for, like healthcare.
As Lydia shares her family photos, she reminisces the feeling of being home, a feeling she no longer has anywhere in the world.
This picture is very special to me because that's my brother and that's me when I was maybe a year or less than a year old. And that really illustrates our relationship. He has always been like there to protect me, and I always felt protected around him. So he's really special to me. Eating with my brother, having breakfast.
With the looming possibility of DACA's demise, dreamers face the uncertainty of their life being turned upside down yet again. Their status stripped, their ability to live a seemingly normal life gone. And for Lydia, the idea of returning home is not as warm and welcoming as some may think.
I actually got the chance through advanced parole, like a special travel permit that I got in 2016. I actually got the opportunity to go back to El Salvador now as a grown-up person, right? And it was really heartbreaking because I left a place as I remember it when I was a child and having family members and everything. And then when I actually spent Christmas with my family, everything changed. It was not the same thing. Everybody grows up, they go on their own. And so I had this memory of like, you know, the good times, and it was nothing like that. So it was really heartbreaking. And I also felt different. Like I was happy to go back home, but I felt different. I didn't feel like it was home anymore. And I felt like an outsider in my own country. So that was really heartbreaking because like here, people tell us all the time, you're not from here, you're not from here. So I tell myself, I'm not from here. And when you go back to your own country where you're supposed to feel at home, you don't feel like at home. And so like, where am I from? Where do I belong? Where is my home? It's really heartbreaking.
This is Sabrina Santoro, Chapman News.
Lydia's DACA status does not expire until 2019, and although she is unsure of what her future holds in America, she expects to finish learning her master's degree at Chapman before then.
Facebook is still in trouble. It turns out as many as 87 million users were affected in the recent data breach, almost double the amount reported earlier. That's according to CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who says that fixing the problem will take many years. Zuckerberg now deals with accusations that a Trump-affiliated consulting firm had obtained data from users in Facebook in an attempt to sway the past election. Facebook will announce on Monday how users can check whether their privacy was violated. And Zuckerberg will testify in a second congressional hearing on Tuesday.
Tuesday's shooting at YouTube headquarters in Northern California left 3 people wounded and the suspect dead. It marks the 58th mass shooting in the U.S. this year. Tasha Riebensdorf has more on the growing problem of workplace violence.
We have a report of subject with a gun. They heard 7 to 8 shots being fired.
Like many workplace shootings, Nasim Agdam had a grievance. This one against YouTube.
I'm being discriminated and filtered on YouTube.
A new U.S. Secret Service study found that nearly half of attacks were motivated by a personal grievance related to a workplace, domestic, or other issue. The 39-year-old had multiple YouTube accounts that drew millions of views. Agdam began posting rants against YouTube on her channels over a year ago.
My old videos that used to get many views stopped getting views.
The Secret Service study also found that over 3/4 of suspects made concerning communications and/or had concerning behaviors prior to carrying out their attacks. In fact, Agdam's brother, who does not want to be recognized, says he warned Mountain View police about his sister that same morning.
For the call, and they promised me they're gonna watch her, and that happened 2 hours later.
And unsurprisingly, the Secret Service study says that over half of suspects had indications of financial instability within the last 5 years. But one thing that was different about this shooting was that the shooter was female.
It's very rare that we see a female shooter in a violence in a workplace scenario. We've seen them at companies across the country, but again, it's usually the male that's acting out with a weapon or firearm like this.
There were 500 people killed in 2016 in workplace homicides, and officials are concerned that those numbers will rise. This has been Tasha Riebensdorf for Chapman News.
Joining us now is Adam Coffrin, the founder of Safe Kids Incorporated and an expert on workplace violence. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
So, the YouTube shooter didn't just spontaneously do this. She posted on social media about her grievances that she had with YouTube. And in general, public shootings just happen to have a lot of planning and premeditation that go into them. Why is that?
So in order to commit a mass act of violence with a lot of people and a lot of numbers, it takes planning. These are not incidents that people just wake up in the morning and go, oh, I want to go hurt some people. They require you have to get handguns or knives or make bombs or all the things that we've seen. So it takes premeditation. It takes a plan to execute this. And just to wake up and go, I think something really bugs me today. This is over time. There's been signs over time. There's been, and in her case, there's been Facebook postings, there's been YouTube postings, there's been her family that's talked about it. So this was not something that happened overnight. And so for us as the American public, and especially in the workforce, we can look at what are these signs and symptoms? How can we hopefully start to deter these things and hopefully stop them before they ever occur?
Well, there were warnings from her family beforehand. Her brother had actually called in to give a tip to the police that maybe she was going to do something. Why didn't they take this more seriously?
So in law enforcement, their hands are really tied. And coming from a law enforcement background, there's been a number of cases where I've gotten this same type of information and we're really hamstrung. So the state of California, along with many other states, their criminal threat laws, so that the laws that govern what is a criminal threat and what is not, is widely hampered by the First Amendment. So obviously the First Amendment of the Constitution being freedom of speech and you can say what you want. Anytime you start to curtail that, there needs to be very specific elements to that. So the law in California is actually very restrictive into what is actually a crime to threaten an act of violence. And so most of these threats don't meet the criminal element in the state of California, which therefore kind of really ties the hands of law enforcement.
The Secret Service released a study just last month saying that all the public shootings and workplace shootings from last year, all the perpetrators were men. But obviously, the YouTube shooter is a woman. So what's the significance of that?
So there's been very few shooters who have been women in U.S. history of mass shootings, the earliest of which was back in the early 70s in San Diego. And so to see a woman by herself committing a mass act of violence or an active shooter event tends to lead to something that's very emotional. So we look at the profile, if you can call it that, of active shooters. It's usually men between the age of about 16 to about 70. So it's a wide spread of virtually everybody. When you look at women, it tends to be much more emotionally engaged. We looked at, we're finding out that she had a relationship or claimed that her boyfriend worked at YouTube. We saw that the primary way that she earned her wage, by and large, was through her YouTube videos. So when YouTube changed the way that she earned a living, so it affected the way that she could live in her lifestyle, one could presume that there was some sort of a relationship tension because of that. Maybe, maybe not. We're still finding some of these out. But you start to mount up the amount of emotion behind this, and it's a much more emotional event that we find that when women are the primary perpetrators as opposed to maybe men who are simply bullied or a low self-esteem or a little bit more reactionary.
So after this incident, what do you think the future of workplace security looks like?
Engagement, really engagement and training. You know, we're in as I've said a few times, we're in a brave new world. We're in a new world than we've ever been in, with violence now coming to the U.S. Most of us grew up and we did fire drills in school and we did earthquake drills if you grew up in California, or tornado drills or different things. We never really taught what happened if there was violence. What happened if someone tried to steal you with stranger danger, or someone tried to hurt you with an active shooter or sexual assault. I truly believe that we need to start all the way as young as kindergarten and first grade in schools to start to find an age-appropriate way to talk to students about it, which is what we've done with Safe Kids. But then moving into the adult world, we have a whole population of adults that don't know what to do. So we really need to get awareness out. We need to get some training out. So when these things do occur, we're prepared and we no longer become victims.
That was Adam Coffrin of Safe Kids Incorporated. Thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
This week, the Children's Hospital of Orange County completed their new mental health inpatient center. Previously, there was only one bed for every 22,000 children in the state of California, and no beds for those under the age of 12 in the Orange County. The center will provide a healing environment and an outdoor area for recreation and therapy. The hospital will expand the services to children being treated for other chronic illnesses, create outpatient programs to prevent, expand the eating disorders program, and continue to work on countrywide projects. The center will officially open later this month.
A kid yodeling in Walmart, a bridal veil that flies, and the world online and trending today.
Plus, a shocker at the pump, why your gas prices keep rising and rising.
And I'm your friendly neighborhood weatherman, Logan Stevens. Is there earthquake weather in our forecast? I'll have all the weather when we come back.
Emergencies and disasters happen with little or no warning and often occur while you are away from home. Be ready for emergencies by registering your alternate phone numbers, cell phones, and email addresses at alertoc.com. You will receive alerts when an emergency occurs near your workplace or neighborhood.
Follow your dreams. Chapman University. History, philosophy, peace studies, languages. Study abroad and explore the world. Become a global citizen. The Wilkinson College at Chapman University. Invest your humanity. Lead.
A damning report on the Canyon Fire 2, the one that came close to the Chapman campus. The report says the fire agency's response had, and I quote, human error and much complacency, ignoring 911 calls and being too slow in sending equipment. The Orange County report recommends that the firemen be disciplined.
Be prepared to start biking or walking to school a lot more often. Marisa Messina has a story on why gas prices continue to rise.
Those tax increases. Soon, Californians may be paying up to $4 per gallon at the gas station. According to AAA, Californians pay an average of $3.32 per gallon of regular unleaded self-service gasoline, coming in second only to Hawaii. But both states pay well above the national average of $2.52.
And sometimes I compare the train price on Amtrak to come home versus how much I think I'm going to spend on gas to drive there, get her, and come back. And oftentimes it's cheaper to take the train. So I do think there are, if the price goes high enough, people are going to start thinking like that. And even flying to LA is pretty cheap now. It might have been the same cost to fly instead of drive.
According to Patrick DeHaan, a petroleum analyst at GasBuddy.com, this is because of the seasonal maintenance work that is about to take place at California refineries, limiting the amount of gasoline they are producing. California also has the second highest gas taxes after Pennsylvania. Last year, Governor Jerry Brown signed into law a 12-cent per gallon increase in California's tax on gas, bringing the total amount you are taxed to 41.7 cents per gallon.
And I noticed a couple months later that it went up from like $2.50 to like $3 something. I'm like, okay, that's a really big jump. And so ever since then, I've been looking at other gas prices, and it's just been like over $3. And I'm like, that's kind of steep. That's a big price.
Now, a repeal effort is gaining momentum to try and rescind those tax increases. The campaign, which involves groups including the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, is still gathering enough signatures to qualify for the November ballot. Some have said President Trump's support for a federal gas tax increase could negatively affect the repeal efforts in California. The president recently proposed a 25-cent per gallon increase in the federal gas tax to help pay for his $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan. If Congress agrees on the plan, it will be the first federal gas tax increase since 1993.
Here in Orange County, California, the average price of a gallon of regular self-service gasoline has rose to $3.53, making it its highest price point since 2015. So if you can't wait for that November ballot, it may be time to dust off the bicycle. Reporting from Orange, I'm Marisa Messina for Chapman News. Hopefully, when the seasonal maintenance ends later this year, we will see a drop in gas prices in the Orange County area. A magnitude 5.3 earthquake struck off the coast of California near the Channel Islands yesterday afternoon. The quake hit just before 12:30 p.m. at a depth of about 10 miles and was felt across the Southern California area, from San Clemente to San Luis Obispo. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quake was the largest Southern California has seen in over 4 years. There were no reports of injuries or damage, but the quake left many shaken up. Officials remind us to always be prepared with emergency supplies in case of a larger quake. Hey, Caitlin, weren't you working in LA when it happened?
Yeah, I was, and I felt it, and it was a long time that we were just sitting there shaking.
Yeah.
It was scary.
I can imagine. Yeah, the last time I think I dealt with an earthquake, I was like 5.
Oh,
and
really?
so, yeah, so it's been a while to know how I would react now. But I've also heard rumors that there's earthquake weather. So, I don't know. Logan, what can you tell us about that?
I can tell you a little bit about that right now. I'm your friendly neighborhood weatherman, Logan Stevens, and earthquake weather is actually not really a thing. It's actually a myth, if you believe it or not. There's no such thing as earthquake weather whatsoever. It's a lot of people think it is due to like heat or other different circumstances, but it's not a thing. And I actually didn't feel the earthquake, so I'm not sure what it felt like or what it was, but just so you guys know, earthquake weather, not so much a thing. So going into our forecast for this week, as you can see right now, it is actually a nice 68 degrees, sunny, and we got a little bit of clouds here. Just a little bit, not too much, and it's just going to be nice weather. So if you want to take a walk around the Chapman campus or just around the Orange County area, maybe around the circle, it's a great day to go do that, and maybe just put on some sunglasses and hang out with some friends. Going on to our Orange County forecast today, we are going to go ahead and see some lower 60s and higher 70s today. And as you can see in Westminster, we're going to get 67. And as we move down a little bit more towards our beach areas of Newport and Laguna, we are going to go ahead and see 64 and 63. So a great day to go ahead and go beach bumming, because that's something I always love to do. I love to just go ahead and lay on the nice warm sand when it's nice and bright outside. And so if we move up north a little bit more towards Orange and Irvine and Mission Viejo, we're going to see those low 70s that I just recently talked about. And all the way down a little bit more south in San Clemente, we're going to see a nice little high of 63. So not too hot, not too cold either, in my opinion, personally. Moving on to the greater SoCal forecast, over in Santa Barbara, we're going to see a low or high of 70. And then as we keep moving down a little bit in Los Angeles and the island of Avalon, we see highs of 69 with Anaheim being 72, and basically the rest of Southern California over in the 60s with Oceanside, San Diego, and Big Bear Lake at 65, 66, and 63. And then Palm Springs just as hot as ever as we move more towards spring and the spring weather at a high of 93 today. So moving into our 5-day outlook this week coming up, we have Friday at a high of 71, Saturday at 72, and right after Saturday, moving into next week, we're going to see an increase in the weather getting a little hotter as we move to 79, 85, and then 81. It's going to be nice and sunny all week long with a few clouds here and there, but there's going to be very, very slight chance of rain, maybe around 10% at the most at any time this week. So that is going to go ahead and wrap it up for our weather forecast today. I am your friendly neighborhood weatherman, Logan Stevens, and as you can see, I'm probably going to go ahead and hit up the beach because, as I said, it's a nice weekend to go to the beach with that nice sun. And we're going to go ahead and toss it over to sports with Tim Wolf, who's going to be saying the best with the Best Campus Sports Show. Tim?
Coming up on the Best Campus Sports Show, the Ducks are playoff bound after grinding out a win against the Minnesota Wild. That and more after the break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Emergencies and disasters happen with little or no warning and often occur while you are away from home. Be ready for emergencies by registering your alternate phone numbers, cell phones, and email addresses at alertoc.com. You will receive alerts when an emergency occurs near your workplace or neighborhood.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Tim Wolf. We got a lot to get to today, and I get in trouble when this segment is over 5 minutes, so let's get started. The Angels' two-way rookie Shohei Ohtani seems to be on his way to achieving success on the mound and at the plate. He got his start and first win Sunday against the Athletics when he allowed 3 runs on 3 hits over 3 innings and retired 6 batters. In his first home game, Ohtani went 3 for 4 at the plate, including his first career home run. The following day, he blasted a 2-run bomb off of AL Cy Young winner Corey Kluber. He has become the fastest player to reach 2 home runs and earns a win as a pitcher since Babe Ruth did it in 17 games all the way back in 1919. Ohtani will make his second start on the mound at the Big A on Sunday. The Ducks are on their way to the postseason after clinching a playoff berth with a win against the Minnesota Wild on Wednesday night. Anaheim was without two big names going into the matchup. Goalie John Gibson and defenseman Cam Fowler were both out, but the Ducks were able to grind out a much-needed win. Here's some of the highlights. John Gibson out. Ryan Miller gets his first start, and he does his best to hold it down, which starts it off with a nice save. Still 0-0 about halfway through the first. The Ducks trying to get scoring, and Corey Perry's shot is blocked, but Andy Walensky does his best Ohtani impression, can't get it to go. And the Wild would officially draw first blood when Matt Dumba fires this one-timer over Miller's shoulder, but the Ducks still grinding 7 minutes later. They say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. Well, Adam Henrique showed us he's got a little bit of both when he manages to will this one underneath Dubnyk to tie it up all at one apiece by the end of the second. Third period now, Ryan Miller holding it down for John Gibson while he is out 1-1, 10 minutes to go. Josh Manson fires in. Dubnyk blocks it. Case gathers the rebound and puts it in for the Ducks to take the lead. 2-1 Ducks with 4 minutes to go after that one. Now you might say, wait a minute, the final score was 3-1. And you'd be right. Andrew Cogliano puts the final nail in the coffin with the empty netter. Ducks win it 3-1 and clinch their sixth straight trip to the Stanley Cup playoffs. With Cam Fowler expected to be out for 6 weeks and his shoulder, and John Gibson day-to-day with an upper body injury, this win was a sign that the Ducks can get it done even without some of their key players. On November 24th, 2015, Stedman Bailey, a receiver for the then St. Louis Rams, was shot twice in the head by a drive-by shooting that is still under investigation to this day. Bailey's cousin, who had also been shot multiple times, and his close friend, who was not hit, rushed them to the hospital, ignoring all signals and police. When they reached the hospital, Bailey, still conscious, and his cousin were transported to another nearby hospital that had a trauma unit where doctors were able to save them both. The fragments of the hollow point bullets that pierced Bailey's skull touched his brain but didn't go into it, which left Bailey's physical and cognitive abilities intact. Even still, when Bailey said he wanted to play football again, doctors told him he may never walk again. That was in 2015. 3 years after the shooting now, Stedman Bailey has made a full recovery, complete with a titanium plate in his skull, and been cleared to play. He was recently at Marshall's Pro Day, where he ran a 4.4 40-yard dash, and you can find him at the Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks with NFL players like his former Rams teammate running back Todd Gurley. Bailey said in an interview with Bleacher Report that he wants to motivate people around the world and win the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award. He said, "I have a divine purpose to be here. You don't just survive those shots and walk around normal." Bailey continues to train and hope for a chance to make an NFL Game Day roster, of which he told Bleacher Report he believes there is a 90% chance. If Stedman Bailey does get that call, though, he says there is a 100% chance that he wins Comeback Player of the Year. Freshman tennis player Elisa Ogranovich is our Athlete of the Week. Her stellar play on the first singles court has helped move Chapman women's tennis to 30th in the nation for all of Division III. Elisa joined me for our weekly segment right across the street at Lassinger Tennis Center. Tennis is really hard. I'm not good at it. Here's this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. Joining me today on Athlete of the Week is freshman women's tennis player Elisa Ogranovich. She's 7-0 on the #1 court this year, and she's going to try to move her Athlete of the Week record to 1-0.
So we have 6 targets set up, and we'll have unlimited serves for a whole minute to hit as many as possible.
Right on. Let's do it. So you are a first semester freshman here, spring admission, tennis team. How's your experience been so far?
It's been really good. I definitely feel like I've adjusted pretty well, and it's just been a good environment. Everyone was so welcoming, and it just feels like such a good team.
So you started the season on court number 3. You're now on court number 1 as a freshman. How's that feel?
It's been really good. It's been quite the journey, but it's definitely been much easier with my teammates. So shout out to them for being really nice and just great on the court and cheering you on for everything possible.
Well, I got close a couple times, but did not hit any because I'm awful. My form was probably terrible, wasn't it, Elisa? It was okay. All right. You guys are going into your last 4 matches, all SCIAC competition. What is your mindset moving forward through these last 4 games and into the rest of the postseason?
Our mindset is definitely to get as far as possible and try to come out as 3rd or 4th in our league and do our best there and then go to team playoffs. We just have to keep motivated and still keep going through with the passion of it and just being all together.
Well, 7-0 on court number 1 and now undefeated on Athlete of the Week, 1-0. Elisa Ogranovich, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week here on Athlete of the Week. I'm Tim Wolf. Turns out that drill is hard even for tennis stars. I'm going to have a word with Justin Thompson, our reporter. That was his idea. Maybe next time I'll pick one where at least I have a chance. But hopefully, Elisa can lead her team to a victory over some real tennis players, too. They can play at Cal Lutheran today at 2 p.m. This week's highlight of the week is a non-professional athlete for the 2nd week in a row, but instead of an amateur filling in, this guy didn't even have to play to make headlines. A Rockets usher had some fun when the fan cam got pointed his way. Looks like this guy was flipping out for the Rockets. That's all I've got here on the Best Campus Sports Show, but don't be sad, I'll be here next week. Same Panther time, same Panther channel. I'm Tim Wolf. Thanks for watching. Here's Brittany with more on What's Online.
Coming up, a 10-year-old went viral on Twitter this week. Find out why he's internet famous now after the break.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie and then wham bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Hi, I'm Brittany Simmons, and here's what you might have missed this week on the internet. First up, Facebook. The company now believes that up to 87 million people's data was improperly shared with Cambridge Analytica, a political practice in London. This number is almost double the original 50 million people reported earlier last week, and people on Twitter are definitely not pressing the like button on Facebook anytime soon. One user at Eric Garland summed up the situation in a tweet, saying Facebook gave your personal information to a group that brags about blackmailing politicians and using rogue spies. While other users, such as @SpaceForAbe, expressed their opinion on the situation, saying, I have mixed feelings over this. If I delete Facebook now, I have to delete Instagram and WhatsApp in order not to be a hypocrite. Right? Lastly, one user at Brian B. Smith offered a solution to anyone in distress about the situation under a BBC article, saying, "The only way we can fight back is for all of us to delete Facebook. You don't need it in your life. Delete. Hashtag delete Facebook, hashtag Facebook." Next up, there was no spill this week on aisle 8 in an Illinois Walmart. Only a kid yodeling. On Monday, a video of 10-year-old Mason Ramsey singing Lovesick Blues was posted on Twitter and immediately went viral.
She do me, she do you, she's got the kind of loving. I'd love to hear what you call me sweet daddy, such a beautiful dream.
Tapping his foot to the beat in a white collared shirt and red bow tie, he yodels the Hank Williams song and captures the attention of shoppers in the Walmart, and now has captured the attention of millions online. The original video has been retweeted over 50,000 times. Since then, Walmart Kid remixes have been posted online and further shared by thousands. Even Walmart has jumped on the yodeling train, hosting a yodeling contest where the prize is a chance to sing with Mason on stage. To enter, submit your video online to hashtag Yodel Challenge. Here comes the bride's veil. The Shanghaiist revealed a new wedding trend in China where the bride's veil literally flies across the room and lands on the bride. Let's take a look. Did you catch that? Let's take another look, but in slow motion. The wedding veil is strung up on two runners and travels down the aisle along two rails on the ceiling before arriving at the bride. Since being posted on the Shanghaiist Facebook page, the video has gone viral and has gained more than 5 million views and 48,000 shares. The website is calling it a new wedding craze, and people on Facebook and Twitter are sharing some of their reactions. Some people were amazed at the new creation, saying that flying veil is magic. Veil magic is cool AF. I want that. While others tried making fun of it. And one user even thought it looked like a ghost. I know that I wouldn't mind having a flying veil at my wedding, but to each their own. This is all the internet news I have for you today. Let's find out what's going on in the world of entertainment with Camilla.
Thanks, Brittany. This week's headlines were filled with TV buzz and romance drama. Season 3 of Stranger Things may not be rescheduled for release until 2019, but it looks like 11 and the gang are facing a new monster way sooner than expected, a lawsuit.
On Tuesday, filmmaker Charlie Kressler filed a lawsuit against the show's creators, Matt and Ross Duffer, claiming the duo ripped off his 2012 short film titled Montauk.
I'm tired of chasing you around. You got your kid, let's go.
About a young boy who disappears. Friends, family, and police search for answers, and, as the film's logline puts it, are drawn into an extraordinary mystery involving top-secret government experiments, terrifying supernatural forces, and one very strange little girl. Sound familiar? Kressler says he pitched the story to the brothers in 2014 at the Tribeca Film Festival party, hoping to get it turned into a feature film. According to Kessler, he gave the Duffers the script, ideas, story, and film, which they spun into the now Netflix hit series. But besides their overall storyline, how similar are the two really? Well, both were originally going to be set in Montauk, Long Island, before the series changed its setting to Hawkins, Indiana. And both were based on a real-life conspiracy theory about the city of Montauk involving secret paranormal government experiments in the 1970s. As for the Duffer brothers, their attorney has responded, saying the claim is completely meritless, and that the Duffer brothers have neither seen Mr. Kessler's short film nor discussed any project with him.
The lawsuit came the same day as Universal Studios' announcements that they will be partnering with Netflix to bring the Upside Down to life this fall at Halloween Horror Nights. Another show that's doing well is the hit CW series Riverdale. The teen drama based off the famous Archie comics confirmed they've been renewed for a third season, and that's not all that got fans excited. This picture of Riverdale co-stars Lily Reinhart and Cole Sprouse kissing in the City of Love has Bughead fans swooning, confirming once and for all that the two are in fact dating. The pair have tried to keep their relationship under wraps up until now, avoiding hinting at anything. Just last month at the Riverdale panel at Paley Fest in Los Angeles, a fan asked the pair if they were dating. The audience went crazy while the two stars were noticeably uncomfortable.
No comment.
Now love is officially in the air for these two on and off screen. In other news, Cardi B don't dance now, she makes TV moves. On Monday night, Cardi B will join Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show, but this time not as a guest. For the first time, Fallon will share his host duties, a move that might be in response to Fallon's latest ratings, which have gone down 15% since last year. Cardi will join Fallon throughout the show, helping interview guests and performing. But if that's not enough Cardi for your Monday, the Bronx's Native's first album, Invasion of Privacy, drops Friday, and she's set to appear on Saturday Night Live this weekend. The Black Panther brought technology and innovation to the fictional country of Wakanda, and now it's bringing the art of cinema to Saudi Arabia. Thursday morning, AMC announced the opening of Saudi Arabia's first public movie theater since they were banned 35 years ago. Marvel's Black Panther will be the first film shown in the new theater in the country's capital of Riyadh. The theater ban was lifted last December by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in the hopes of improving the quality of life of Saudi families. Black Panther will premiere at the theater on April 18th and will screen for 5 days. All right, that's all the news I've got for you in the world of entertainment. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Camilla. Have you seen Black Panther yet?
I have. It's amazing.
I'm so jealous. I haven't had a chance to yet, but I definitely want to now.
It's still in theaters.
That's all we have for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to log on to our website, chapmannews.tv, to see all of our episodes, Chapman Newsy bios, and top headlines.
And make sure you also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Chapman News, Twitter and Instagram @Chapman News, and YouTube at youtube.com/Chapman News.